It's labelled the worst half of season 4, and we are going to start it here. People like us, people like Fogg, here to review it. Episode 9. John's at the door. Is a good episode at the door. Let's talk about it. Let's find it. Let's look at the plot. Morgan tries to help a little.
Welcome, welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. And you said it's labelled the worst half of season. Well, I can't remember the term you used, but you said it's labelled like the worst half of season 4. I mean, it's not like that's hard.
It's not as many halves. You can only get 2 halves, but here, this half of pizza's shite.
Yeah. So I mean, come on. It's. I mean, you're either the better half or the worst half, but people are saying that the second half of season 4 is by far the worst half, and I mean, you could see it since Morgan came in the first half of season 4, but I think this episode 9, I think this outdoes anything that Morgan done in the first half, and not in a good way. You can clearly see this is no longer Fear the Walking Dead with the Clark family. This is the Morgan and Friends show.
It's the Morgan. It's like Thomas the Tank, but it's Morgan and his stick.
And this episode, no word of a lie, it was literally Morgan deciding he was going to go back to Alexandria. He was going to go back to where he came from. He was going to go back and be with Rick because Rick was right. And he spent time trying to recruit all the characters in this show to go back with him. That's it. Spoiler, no spoiler, nothing else happened. It was Morgan walking around trying to feed people this story, this lie. Oh, Alexandria's a great place and we could do with great people like you. You'd be a welcomed addition. If it's so great, then why the fuck did you leave, you idiot? Why did you just decide to leave Alexandria and go on this like foot mission where you like walked halfway across the fucking world, well, halfway across America? And then what made Morgan decide to go back? What was the one moment? Like, could we not have seen the moment? Could we not have seen why? What was the thing that like flicked that light inside Morgan's head and he thought, I need to go back. I need to go back. We didn't see it. The episode literally just started and Morgan had already made up his mind that he had to go back and be with his little lover Rick. I don't get it.
It's pathetic, right? I mean, at least if he left Alexandria in search of good people, it would make sense. But it doesn't make any sense, right? He talks to John. He talks to June. That's Naomi slash, what's her name? What's the other name?
Laura.
That's her real name. June, damn it. But John says that him and June and Charlie are going to go back to his wee cabin very soon. June and Althea then head off in search of what's all these walkers getting washed up, boy. John can't do it because he's unwell, so he plays like Scrabble with Charlie. But
he makes up a Scrabble board because Charlie won't talk, so he thinks that if he gets her to create words that'll help, but really she doesn't want to play with John and she just leaves.
Yep,
she sneaks off.
She just leaves, runs into this mansion where Strand, Luciana and Alicia are at. Alicia's kind of sleeping in the greenhouse though. Runs in. Luciana chases her off. Strand, just before that, had been visited by John. John's like, you shot me. Charlie did kill Nick, but you owe me. So John and Strand, the most unlikeliest of tag teams, go out looking for Charlie, even though she was actually at the house.
And I didn't like Luciana before this. Basically just like, there's nothing left for me. Everything's been taken. If that's the case, then why not go with Morgan?
No, it's just absolutely cringe, man. She's like, sitting there with music blasting, Strand's killing walkers with wine. I just think Strand's weird.
But why is this episode? Why is she all of a sudden now? Why is she all of a sudden now like upset and distraught about Nick? But we hadn't seen it in the previous episodes. It was all about Madison. But now she's saying she's got nothing left because Nick's dead.
Yeah. I mean, fun fact about this episode is that this is the first episode of the series that Lenny James receives top billing during the opening credits. So pretty much he's replaced Kim Dickens then.
Well, that's what it tells me. And like, see if you were Alicia's actress, or if you were Strand's actor, would you not be a bit annoyed that this guy's literally just came in? Maybe people aren't looking at that. Maybe people don't think that's a big deal. But this guy's just came in, and already he's like considered to be the number one. He's stolen your spotlight away from you.
Yeah, and it's not been a gradual transition. I mean, literally from season 4, episode 1, he's been the man.
It's almost like they wasted this episode just to show you that here Morgan's now the main character.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was pathetic though, and then a storm comes in. We've seen it at the start, but at the end, Al's like, I swapped out the 2 tons of this, reinforced this, all we could do, just talking absolute shit. And then we just see walkers getting blown against the side here. A storm. Oh no, it's a hurricane. It's not Gregory Helms. It's just the wind in Texas, wherever we are. So, again, I mean, we're British, but we understand, unlike some uneducated people, like the actual gulf in America between states and between Virginia and Texas. You're talking thousands of miles. Like, we're talking probably about, I'd say about 1,500 miles, and for him to walk that and just decide, you know what, actually, I'm going to do a U-turn is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. And another thing, you bring up the size of America. Yes, America has a big population, but when you look at, like, the landmass of America, you just wouldn't be seeing these massive groups of walkers anymore. That's something that you'd be getting in the early seasons. See what, we're like almost 10 years in now. Why are we still getting these like massive hordes of groups? It doesn't make any sense unless there's actual humans out there that are like grouping them up. Like, but you see them and you just like, it's almost just for like cool action scene. Like every other episode, you'll see a massive horde of walkers.
Oh, the hurricane attracted a horde.
But you know what I mean? You're out in the middle of nowhere, like a desert or fucking, I don't know, like in the wilderness. Some like little city, some like little town with a population of like 50 people. Yet you look around the corner and there's a group of 300 walkers. You're like, what? It just doesn't make any sense.
No, it was really poor. And that's pretty much the episode.
Well, like, that's no word of a lie. Morgan just went round asking people, do you want to come with me? Do you want to come with me? Do you want to come with me? And everyone, basically, apart from Al, said no. And the only reason she said yes is because she was going to get footage. She was going to get a story from Morgan. Pathetic.
Yeah, you know what, right? It is pathetic. And why wouldn't John and, like, June and Charlie want to go with him?
Yeah, I mean,
John said, "Oh, I'm not fit enough if you're sitting in the back of the SWAT van."
But he also says that he's going to go back to his little cabin, which would take travelling. And how safe is it on your own with Laura and this little kid? Why wouldn't you want what Morgan's offering you here? A community with walls and a lot of people to defend
I
you?
can kind of get Strand, right? He's just an alcoholic. He's got this big mansion to himself, and he's got bottles of wine. Luciana's depressed. Why doesn't she go?
Yeah, Strand
And then also, we didn't even mention Alicia's gimmick. This, oh, someone's saying help me. How's someone getting help me messages on the walkers and then they're ending up 10 miles down the road at Alicia?
Yeah, so I don't get it. This person was like trapped. They were staple gunning notes onto walkers with help me on it. Alicia then follows the walker. She follows them about 10 miles. She gets there. And the person that she wants to help is already turned into a walker. She's distraught because she couldn't make a difference. Morgan says there's nothing you can do. They've been dead for a while. And Alicia is upset and she claims that Madison would have saved them. But she doesn't even know this person. She's just upset that some random person is dead. Feels very forced. I get it. They're doing it to try and shoehorn Madison in there. But, I mean, who cares? This was it. This is what they had to offer. Very, very poor.
This second half's been labelled as like missable, and you could just, it's unwatchable. You don't actually need to watch it. If it continues like this episode,
see if you missed this episode. The only thing that I think is worth, obviously Morgan wants to go back home and Charlie's missing, but I mean, who fucking cares?
No. And also introduced a hurricane, right? Which I've got a feeling will actually take up.
It hit you like a hurricane.
I think this hurricane's going to take up.
That's going to be the main villain.
Yeah.
The second half of season 4, the hurricane. Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through. Well, stand back. There's a shite refuse score coming through. I thought it was really poor. I am going to give it a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. 2 for shite.
You need to be next level, bad to get a 1. It wasn't quite that bad, but it was. It might be the worst episode of Fear yet.
Yeah. It's see what happened.
I think that's fair. Worst episode of Fear yet.
I think in this episode, right, you could have literally wrapped it up in 8 minutes. Like a quick wee montage and Morgan going around people. Just asking them they want to come back.
But I felt like that was just done just to solely implement him as the main character.
Yeah.
It was like, fuck everyone else. See this guy that you see in every scene interacting with all the other characters. He's the guy you need to support. He's the guy you need to love going forward.
He's the man.
That's how it made me feel.
Anyway, 2 out of 10. We're back next week with 3 more of these shy episodes. Until then, peace.